Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G here. Um, this is gonna be a personal story. I've been seeing like a lot of topics about men and women and marriage and women not wanting marriage, and a lot of these dudes are like 50-year-old dudes proposing to women in their 20s, 30s, whatever. I think there was like a post recently about like the actor, singer Tyrese, who was like butthurt because like a 20-year-old woman turned him down for a marriage proposal, something like that. Same thing with Michael B. Jordan, who I think is in his like close to 40 and was dating that one girl who is like 22, 23, and like people were berating her for not wanting to get married. It's like, oh, this is a good guy, willing to marry a black woman, wanting to marry a black woman. And, you know, they were like, well, now this is justification for him to go out with white women because a white woman, a 20-year-old white woman, will marry him, right? I thought I would tell this story because this is like one of those things when I look back, I too could have been a child bride. I got my first marriage proposal when I was 17 years old, and the man was in his mid 20s. Okay, guys, subscribe to my channel, and I'm gonna tell you how I almost ended up being a child bride. Now, first of all, obviously this was a consensual relationship, but when you look back, who I was at 17 years old and the adults around me were all okay with this. Who would be marrying their child in modern times off at this age? Now, I did not get married, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. So this is how it all came to be. Now, I was in a relationship with this guy. He was very nice. He's very handsome. But ultimately, this was probably an inappropriate relationship, right? So, because it's like the things that people seem to be okay with young girls and adult men, I was still a teenager. Let's just say I was still a teenager. And he was not a predator. I don't want to say he was a predator. I guess I don't think of him as that in that way. But ultimately, I think the adults around us should have thought a little bit better about this kind of relationship. 17-year-old people are definitely not ready for marriage. Like, sometimes now I'm not sure if I'm ready, even though I'm in it, right? But at this age, you're definitely not. And I remember his mother did not like me at all, okay? I was like a kid and she had like seriously didn't like me. This is also how people see black girls, right? They don't see them as innocent and they don't see them as girls. She thought I was a predator to him at my age. And, you know, she was very, very evident, aware that she did not like me. It wasn't correcting him though, that maybe this girl's a bit too young. Maybe she's not ready for the things that you're ready for. And perhaps you should do something differently. Nobody corrected him. I was the Jezebel in this situation, right? So, guys, 17, I'm engaged. Isn't it crazy? I got engaged. And this was the first time. I've been proposed to a few times, and I can tell those stories. I'll tell the stories. People are always like, us brown girls don't get marriage proposals, but we do. We just don't accept them all. So this was not supposed to like get married right away. And I liked him. I loved him, I guess, you know, in that 17-year-old way. But I don't think that the way I love now is definitely something that I would know about then. And the truth is, I hadn't had a lot of examples of relationships that were healthy. I had not had a lot of concepts about marriage and dating even. I think that he was so nice to me, and he was probably, he sent me gifts. He was perfect in that sense. He was tall, he was handsome, and he was perfect. So he took care of me, and was very protective. And all of those things are things that felt good. And for a little girl who was basically in a situation around people like domestic violence most of my life, and all of these things, he was safe, and that felt like love. I don't know, like, looking back at that, if that was real love or not, but it felt good because it felt safe and I felt protected, and that seemed like it was enough. I hadn't thought about myself in the sense of the development I needed to be as a human to be with other people. I had not experienced life yet. I had not been through anything personal to grow and develop who I was, right? But everybody was okay with the idea of me getting married to this man at this age. Now, I was going to college and everything, so it wasn't going to be immediate, but like now, after the engagement, of course, people started like, when are you gonna get married? What are you gonna do? Da, da, da. Now, he has different memories of how things went that I do, and I don't actually interrupt his memories or try to correct him. Yes, I is someone who I still occasionally talk to. I'm actually friends with most of the men that I have known through my life. This is probably why I don't have issues with black men the way some people do, because I don't think that I've had lots of men who are horrible, men who have wasted my time, men who have done things, but ultimately I have not, in my own personal experience, had men who I've been in relationships with that were horrible. I've had more men be horrible to me who I was not in relationships with. So I just want to say that this guy was not horrible. But I broke up with him because I was not ready. When I realized the gravity of everything that was going to be expected of me, I would realize I couldn't do it. I was terrified. And I don't think that anybody gives people credit, or gave me credit at the time, for correcting a situation that could have led me down a path in my life that I wouldn't be happy with. I probably would have done tons of babies, tons of weight on me, emotionally and mentally, that I wasn't prepared for, and I hadn't corrected things in my life, personally and emotionally, from my childhood traumas, to be in a relationship with somebody, to actually be a whole human. So I think it took me some time to find my way in that way. And of course, when I broke off this engagement, everybody was not pleased with me, and everyone kind of, like, the whole thing that you see these women go through, judge the woman for not taking a good man, not having the foresight to be in a relationship with a man who's obviously ready for marriage and ready for children and all that. Now, obviously, he was still in his 20s, so he was still young, but my age to his age was very different. And, some of these dudes in their 40s marrying these 20-year-olds, come on now, a 20-year-old marrying a 40-year-old is only really marrying him for a few reasons, because in 10 to 15 years, what are you going to get with this dude when you're 30 and he's in his 50s complaining about his knees and his erectile dysfunction? Yeah, who wants that when you're like just 29 years old, but now you've saddled with like a couple of kids, and now a big man who is probably even less helpful. Now, if he doesn't have money, then what are you gonna do with him? Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, men don't recognize how their age devalues them. They're always talking about how it devalues us. That's why they try and get women, girls, at a young age, because they want to get you at your highest peak of fertility, your highest peak of energy, so that you can take care of them and they can groom you to do that for the rest of your freaking days. Now, I'm not saying this particular man was doing that, but that's the mentality in the overall sense. And I think when I look back, I'm happy with all the decisions I've made in my life. I really am. Even the ones that have not been that great have led me to be who I am and what I want to do. I had healing to do. I had lots of healing to do. And I want to talk a little bit about that, how I went through a process of healing just to become a better mom when I was a single mom. So, guys, I think we should all avoid the things that give us that twist in our stomach that makes us think. I think a lot of times we ignore that little twinge in our stomach because of what everybody is going to think and say. So I think like a lot of times, especially when we're young, we don't know to pay attention to the feelings we get, those twinges that tell us to not do something or to do something or get away. And I'm so glad that I paid attention to mine. So guys, I would love to hear your comments on this story. Check me out in the comments. And subscribe. And ciao for now.